Tyson Campbell is banged up and it feels like deja vu. I'll tell you why here in just a second.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ain't no doubt about that. It's your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast that you can find wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you tap in wherever you get them, whether you watch or listen. I've covered this team for over 2 decades, so we try to bring you the most comprehensive Jaguars information that you can get each and every day as we lead or head up to the first game of the year. We're heading through the preseason right now. We got 2 more games to go, and then the games really count. I'll tell you all about it here on today's episode. In fact, which is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Hello to the everydayers and hello to the newcomers. I'll give you both a reason to come back if you hang tight with me. Let me tell you where we're going. We're going to end up talking about Travis Etienne. The Etienne status check is on deck right in the middle of the show. Defensive coordinator Anthony Campani is a huge Travon Walker fan, and so am I. We're going to start it, though, talking about Tyson Campbell and whether his injury is a deja vu. Deja vu to what, you ask? Well, Tyson Campbell and Andre Cisco, the previous 4 seasons, they were counted on to do a lot of things for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got picked in the same draft as Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. Both were counted on and considered prospects that would grow to be really good players. They both flashed at certain times. It never really happened. Cisco was let go. They kept Tyson Campbell, re-signed him last year. He's looked good. He looks the part, but there's a problem. Cisco and Tyson Campbell had an issue, and that issue is and was and apparently still is staying healthy. Neither one of those guys seem to stay healthy and be available, and availability is very important because people say, well, it's availability is one of your biggest abilities, right? And that's being available. Well, he's banged up again and he's day-to-day. Not going to make a big deal out of the injury. Not going to say, oh, this is doom and gloom. But I will say, for a fan base that is always trying to run from their past, that's trying to escape all of the negativity and the things that have gone on that have plagued this franchise over the years, and there are several, and we can name a bunch of them. Injuries are one of them. Injuries are definitely one of them. And with Travis Hunter slated to play cornerback and wide receiver, you would hope that having a weakness or a deficiency at either one of those positions doesn't force the Jaguars to play him more one way than they have to play him in the other. You want everyone to be healthy so that Travis becomes this great luxury and you can use him at your disposal. And Tyson Campbell's injury is not in and of itself all about Travis Hunter, but that's a point that we have to bring up, considering that this may cause him if Tyson Campbell continues, and I'm not saying that he can't be healthy at some point, but the problem with this, man, is it just feels like the situation in the past where he's in and out of the lineup. I don't even know what his injury is. I think it's probably something leg related. I will tell you this, though. I pointed out that Tyson Campbell looked good in camp this year, and he has. His body's a little bit different, and I'm thinking that the strength and conditioning of the Jaguars really helped, that he was totally bought in, all of those things. But now he looks like he's going to be a day-to-day dude again, man, and maybe it's precautionary and maybe it isn't. But it's enough to really make us go, wow, not again. And that's where we are today. So hopefully he can get healthy. Injuries are part of the game. It's part of the game you don't really want to see that often. But he's pretty physical. He's a pretty physical player if you're wondering why he always seems to get banged up. I can't blame it on the physicality. When I saw his body this year when he came back, from the offseason. I was like, okay, maybe the added bulk and the strength, maybe adding all of those things together, he's figured out a way to kind of do everything he can do to stay on the field. But look, it's not about making a mountain out of a molehill as much as what it is just telling the truth. This is a worrisome issue. If it was somebody else, I wouldn't be as worried. I'd be like, these things happen. But I'm worried a little bit because these things happen and they always seem to happen to him. And whether or not you want to hear that, or not, to me, that is not something that we can say, well, that was the old regime and this is a new regime. No, this is kind of one of those, well, if it happened then and it's happening now, well, maybe he's just a little out of step with the whole situation. Not indicating at all that he has done anything wrong or anything to deserve this, or this is the result of something that he's not doing. It just is what it is, man. He's just a guy that doesn't seem like he's going to be relied on or relied upon to constantly stay healthy. You can go down the roster and look at guys that have been physical, that play physical, and they never get banged up. Go ahead and do it. I'm going to talk about one of them in a little while. He's always there. Travon, he's always there. Foye Oluokun, they're always there. I don't recall Jordan Lewis being hurt when he was with Dallas. Always there. There are certain players that seem like they are always there, and then there are certain players that seem like they're not always there. And even when they are probably there more than you think they are because they're out enough, they just seem like they're never always there. And Tyson Campbell is one of them, and he plays a pretty important position with the Jaguars and takes up a pretty significant chunk of change that they could have used on somebody else, but they chose to use it on him. And here he is again, out day to day. Might not be a big deal. This injury might not be a big deal. What might be a big deal, though, is the mental part of this that tells you, okay, he's going to find something else is going to find him. It could be just bad luck, but it's going to find him, and he's going to find himself on some sort of injury list again, or maybe out another time. And then we're trying to get continuity. Y'all saw that defense the other night. Campani basically said it yesterday. Anthony Campani, the defensive coordinator. Ugh. It's early. We ain't put a lot on them, and we weren't trying to do a lot of stuff, but, communication, we got a lot of stuff to work on, basically, and I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him, so I don't want to get sued by nobody, but go to Jaguars.com, and you can hear all of his interviews. Go look on YouTube. I'm telling you, man, it's just, to me, the first time I saw this, I was like, oh, God, not again. I would do the same thing if it was Travis Etienne, who will hit in his third segment. I'll go, oh, not again. I never do that about Tank Bigsby. One guy always seems to be there, and another guy always seems like he's not. I'm not a doctor. I'm also not a wizard, even though I can be kind of smart sometimes. I have no idea why Tyson Campbell just seems like a dude that is going to be perpetually injured. There have been great corners who were great athletes that were always just like this. Y'all remember D'Angelo Hall? And I'll give you one even better, Sean Springs. They were yoked up athletes, and Tyson Campbell is a track athlete who's super, super yoked up. But even in college, it always seems like, as a five-star recruit at Georgia, something always kept him from living up to that vast potential. In the NFL, it seems to be the training room or the training table or whatever it is that causes it. But all I can tell you is this: I know the Jaguar fans are sick of it and they want it to go away, and I do too. So I'm wishing him the best of luck because I think it helps the Jacksonville Jaguars if he's available. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. One of those guys that's always available is Travon Walker, and he's got a huge fan, and it's not just me. It's defensive coordinator Anthony Campani. I'll discuss the reasons why he loves Travon Walker so much in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. All right, today's show is sponsored and brought to you by FanDuel. Man, it's almost time. And August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP right now or eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks in, this is your moment. I'm going to tell you right now, man, the MVP race, I picked one yesterday. I'm going to throw a different name out each and every day. I'm going to be Captain Obvious today and say Lamar Jackson because I think they might get it done in the AFC. That's right. I need y'all, though, to visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets, your futures bets, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. That is August 26th. It's FanDuel Futures Day. Make sure you go to FanDuel and play your game. Moving and grooving here on Locked On Jaguars. Glad you guys could join me. Continuing to heal up from my little situation. So haven't been at camp very much though, but I've been dialed in and I've been paying attention. And while I didn't go to camp, the guy they call camp caught my attention, and that is Anthony Campani, your defensive coordinator, who's one of the most charismatic guys we've seen around here in a while. Doesn't try too hard. Cool as a fan, man. I had a nice 10-minute conversation with him one day after practice. Cool as a fan, man. You ever get a chance to meet him, man, you better be prepared to discuss. Well, you don't need to be prepared because he ain't going to do it. But if you want to initiate a good conversation, only if you've been to a real good, authentic Italian restaurant. I ain't talking about chain restaurants, and shout out to chain restaurants. I love you. You're more than welcome to call our people and we can do some advertising for you. Those little restaurants that you find in certain places, pizza in Connecticut. And here, me and Prisco were talking about this little pizza spot that Prisco had me looking for. He had me walking down the beach in Aruba about 8 years ago looking for a little pizza spot, this dude under a tree. And I found it, and my God, it was the best pizza I think I'd had in a long time. He gets off on stuff like that. Now, he's a good Italian dude, man. And he even told me what his name was supposed to be if it wasn't Anthony, because that's my name too. I ain't going to tell y'all his business. I'll let him tell you that story. But if you ever get a chance to ask him what his name was, what they were going to name him, and somebody talked him out of it or something. It was very, very funny man. But he's also no nonsense. And a no nonsense man loves no nonsense people that he has to supervise. And Travon Walker is about as no nonsense of a young man as you're going to see on this football team. Doesn't mean he's stuck up or boring or some kind of curmudgeon. I had a joke there for his daddy, but I ain't going to say it. But he's a good person and a good young man and a great individual to be around and the type of guy you want to have in the DNA and the fabric of your team. In fact, shout out to the Walkers because Campanile said it's basically a credit to the people that raised him. Everyone wants to be around him. Everyone loves him. And I know all y'all saying, okay, what that got to do with him being the #1 overall pick and how he's going to play for the Jaguars, because none of that stuff is why they sign his checks. Actually, some of that stuff is why they sign your checks. Because you can be a talent, but if you're a nincompoop and you ain't going to be available, then that's going to mess up your money. And we have seen it happen a lot in the National Football League. But I love when coaches talk like this about players and the player actually backs it up on the field, which Travon Walker does, despite the fact that there are a whole bunch of people that want to keep ignoring that. There's a whole bunch of people that want to come up with these dumb scenarios. Like in the offseason, everybody was talking about who says no, we'll trade a 3rd round pick and a day 3 pick swap for Travon Walker. And we laughed at that kind of stuff because that's like saying somebody's just going to walk up to Sydney Sweeney or Beyonce and go, yeah, you come with me and live with me in my trailer or my little apartment in the hood and we're going to make a nice family. Yeah, like they're going to agree to that. And like the Jaguars were going to agree to that foolishness while at the same time simultaneously behind the scenes agreeing that they were going to give Travon his 5th-year option at $15 million and probably will end up this season working out a contract extension with him that's going to pay him $1 gazillion. And everybody around here talking about they're going to trade a can of Spam, some chicken franks, ramen noodles, and some old cornflakes for Travon Walker. If y'all don't stop that foolishness, y'all, I don't know what to tell you. But what I will say is this. when your coaches speak glowingly like this about you, they know what you can do, man. They're going to put you in a position to be successful. And the days that I was at camp and even the days that I wasn't, I followed the people that I trust and even made a phone call or two. Travon was getting pressure and was dominating and was giving offensive linemen a fit. And you can sit here and say, well, is that a credit to him or a discredit to the offensive lineman? It ain't a discredit to the offensive lineman. It's a credit to him because the offensive lineman that he's doing it against, they're better than they were a year ago. And sometimes there were people that said he wasn't doing enough of this in practice. Well, we can blame Ryan Nielsen and Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson for coming up with these awful plans, right? And having these guys shuffling in and out of games. It's a wonder that dude was able to still get 10 sacks, which, by the way, he has done 2 years in a row. Okay? He's done that 2 years in a row. And there's a lot of dirty work. There's a lot of dirty work, man, that goes into. He reminds me of if you've ever had a manager or if you've ever had a coach, and I'm going to be talking about myself here, right? I was the coach for a women's basketball team in Europe, but I wasn't the dude standing up yelling. I was the dude teaching in practice. And I was the dude that when we called a timeout, when things got hard, the coach would turn and he'd be bouncing. It would look like he's bouncing the ideas off my head. He was asking me what to do. That's what he was doing. And he's my friend. Shout out to my man, Tevin. He knows I'm telling the truth. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't lying. We won the United States Air Force and Europe championship, and he got a trophy, and they clapped his hand. I'm just standing back there. That's what this reminds me of. It reminds me of a dude that is valuable beyond the sight of a whole bunch of people. It reminds me of someone that does a whole bunch of things that need to be done, but he doesn't get credit for it. It reminds me of numbers may not lie, but they don't tell the whole story. Where have you heard that at? Here, right here on this show. There's just an appreciation for guys like Travon, like Jared Verse, like Cam Jordan. There's an appreciation from the people that matter, football coaches and football players, that sometimes fans and media fail to understand. And I don't know how many people got to say it about Travon Walker before fans start to believe it, that he is the type of player that everybody wants. And I will go to my grave thinking this. And my man that covers the Lions for ESPN, he can remember this because we were at the Senior Bowl. We were at Beats. And I was over there with a whole bunch of staff members for the Detroit Lions. Now, they didn't tell me who they were going to pick. 2 of them still up there, by the way. They didn't tell me who they were going to pick. The other one was Todd Wash, who's no longer with them. But when they were talking about Travon Walker and Hutchinson and all of these, I will go to my grave thinking that if the Jaguars would have taken Aiden Hutchinson, that the number 2 pick would have been Travon Walker for the Detroit Lions. And I'm very, very, very confident in that. And nobody would be saying anything about Travon that's negative because he'd be on a team that was winning and he'd be a dude still getting double-digit sacks. What would they be saying about Aiden Hutchinson if he was on here with the dumpster fire that we've had here the last 3 years? I just want to know. I don't know. So sometimes it's about perspective and about switching positions and trading and swapping out where guys are and trying to say, okay, if he was here, he was here. Or you could just get your eyes open and your ears open, and you can listen to what coaches, opposing coaches, have said both in college as well as the National Football League. Not only his coaches, but other people's coaches. Pay attention to what real football people say and not everybody. It's also listen to the local experts and stop listening to a bunch of folks that, quite frankly, don't know what they're talking about, and they're just in it for the entertainment value. Speaking of entertainment, running backs give us a lot of entertainment. And one guy who's expected to give a lot of entertainment to Jacksonville is Travis Etienne. There's rumors yesterday that he might be out of here. I don't know where they got started, and I don't even know if it's true or not. But I'll talk about his status here with the Jaguars in just a second on Locked On Jaguars. Today's episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year. NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. Me and my boys in Showtime and Playmakers going to do this thing for 18 years in a row, all on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or you're a veteran making your 1 millionth league. Here's what I need you to do, man, to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness. Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. With the season around the corner now, it's time to get your league together. That's right, get it together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classes, you can still play head-to-head in private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Kicking the can down the road here on this episode on this glorious, beautiful day here in North Florida. I am Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast. We've discussed Tyson Campbell's injury being a deja vu. Defensive coordinator Anthony Campani is huge on Travon Walker. You wonder if another guy who is currently playing on his fifth-year option, and that is Travis Etienne. You wonder how they feel about him. Rumors circulating yesterday that he could possibly be traded, and there were things, people putting memes out on social media. And let me tell you one thing I have not gotten used to. And though I put memes out, and I do the same thing, I haven't gotten used to the people who these things are subject to running straight to social media and putting out something. It's almost like players are tweeting from practice while they got the helmet on, or they got somebody running their account. I ain't with all the subliminal stuff, man. Just come out directly and tell me what's going on. Tank Bigsby put the little, I don't know what the face is, I guess the face of confusion yesterday, and everybody ran crazy. And somehow start saying that, oh, does this mean Travis Etienne is getting traded? I don't know why Tank Bigsby would tweet anything, because if Etienne was getting traded, that wouldn't mean a bad thing for him. It'd be a good thing. He just probably wouldn't say anything. But in the case of Travis Etienne, some people have asked me, man, is he expendable? Don't know if he's expendable or not. I don't know what they plan or what they intend to get for him in free agency that they wouldn't get with a compensatory pick. And some people have told me the compensatory aspect of this whole thing has been overblown, and that maybe, you know, if a team is needy enough, they'll trade for him and try to get a running back. You know, the draft of free agency just happened, right? So unless somebody around here is banged up at the running back position, I don't know why anybody would do that now, unless they're just unhappy with the dudes that they have, or they feel like they just need a running back. I don't know if there's somebody out there that loves him to death and want to trade for him and try to give him an extension now as opposed to competing for him in the offseason. I do know that I watched some tape of Tampa Bay last year when Liam Cohen, I almost said Leon Cohen, and that's funny. That's fun. Somebody's going to take that and they're going to, never mind, they ain't going to do that. But anyway, the man's name is Liam Cohen. I'm sitting here thinking that maybe if you watch the tape and you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with two tailbacks on a lot of different occasions, then you realize having four makes sense. The Jaguars actually have five in camp. This would mean to me that the Jaguars don't see a whole bunch of difference between not just Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, not just those two, and Bashaw Tutin and LaQuint Allen. LaQuint Allen was slinging them hands yesterday, I heard, in practice. That's something else. A little running back getting it in the mix. I like a little running back trying to fight people. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe if they believe Bashaw Tutin, and I'm glad I said his name correctly. I did it right because I'm looking at this roster. But I'm going to tell y'all what I keep doing. I keep switching that man's name back and forth. I keep calling him Tutin Bashaw. But Bashaw Tutin and LaQuint Allen Mr. Hands, maybe it's not just about those 4 people. I think Jaquindon Jackson, he gives them something of a different look at running back. He's a big physical running back. He's 6'2", 233 pounds, and he gets that thing going downhill, man, and he looks fleet of foot. So maybe what they're saying is this. LaQuinton Allen, maybe he litigates any difference that we might have in Travis Etienne and these other guys. Maybe we need to keep him because he's a power back. And if, for instance, we lose Tank Bigsby for a week or two, we'll still have a guy who can be a thumper, who can run in between the tackles in short yardage. But if you keep the other 4, you don't have that if Bigsby goes down. If you move Etienne and you keep Bigsby, Tootin, Allen, and Jackson, because I think they're going to keep 4. I don't think they're going to keep 3. And you keep those 4 guys, now you still have the versatility in that room. We always talk about the basketball team versatility, how you need a point guard, power forward. With the running backs, I think you need versatility, but I think you need to cover all the bases. This, if they did decide to move Travis Etienne, this would signal to me that it's not just about Bigsby and the rookies. It's also about Jaquindon Jackson, making it real hard to keep him from being a guy that's on this roster and somebody touching the ball. So while we don't know what's happening with it, let's just keep our eyes on it. But in the meantime, I don't think the Jaguars need to be trading people just to trade people. I think they need to keep everybody that they can and continue to move forward and let this play out. But y'all watch number 38 now. He's a big old physical throwback type of runner, man. And I'm telling you, he might be the reason, the floor raising might be the reason why you say, you know, we can win with these guys and still get some compensation for ETN. Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. And thank you for making Locked On Jaguars your first listen of the day. NFL fantasy draft season is here. So for your second listen, go find the Locked On Fantasy Football Podcast with hosts Vinny Iyer and Kate Magzuik. You know what? I'm going to say that again. It's Kate Majuk. That's my girl, too, and I can't even say her damn last name. Listen, every day to prep for your fantasy draft and become the most informed manager so you can take home your league's trophy this season. Find Locked On Fantasy Football on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. I appreciate y'all joining me here for 28 minutes. Your time is so valuable. The fact that you decided to spend it here with me on Locked On Jaguars, well, that makes me feel really good. And that makes me also understand that I got to keep bringing the heat to keep earning your visit here on Locked On Jaguars. And that's exactly what I intend to do. And I'll do it tomorrow. So make sure y'all tap in. We'll see you later on Locked On Jaguars.